Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Devika and Dishika, for a wonderful Kirtan. I think I'm yet to see Yamuneshwari Mataji on the call. Is it possible you can continue for a few more minutes? Is that okay?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Thank you so much, Devika and Dishika. Wonderful Kirtan for an extended time. Thank you so much. Now, today's session, special session, will be taken by Arvind Krishna Prabhu. We have His Grace Arvind Krishna Prabhu here with us. So, without wasting much of the time, we'll hand it over to Arvind Krishna Prabhu to hear the nectar from his mouth.
Hey, nectar! Hoppa! Nectar!
Book distribution is always nectar, isn't it?
Book distribution is nectar only. That
Yeah.
is correct.
And
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
we explain that is again true. After a long time, we are having your association in the class. So, thank you.
I don't know about book distribution story, but let's see. Okay. Now, I thought I will read one verse maybe, and we'll do. How do we do this? Okay, let's read and say prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so I've just basically continue to read what I reading now. So nothing special. So Canto 5, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, 5th Canto, Chapter 1, Activities of Maharaj Priya Vrata, Text 2. Text 2? No, Text 3. Mahatam Kalu Vipra Vrese, Vipra Rishi. Uttama Sloka Padayoho Chaya Nirvrta Chittanam Na Kutumpe Spraha Matihi. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Elevated Mahatmas who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are fully satiated by the shade of those lotus feet. Their consciousness cannot possibly become attached to family members. Purport. Srila Narottama Das Thakur has sung Nitai Pada Kamala Koti Chandra Susitala E Chayaya Jagat Chudaya. He describes the shade of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda as being so nice and cooling that all materialists who are always in the blazing fire of material activities may come under the shade of his lotus feet and be fully relieved and satiated. The distinction between family life and spiritual life can be experienced by any person who has undergone the tribulations of living with a family. One who comes under the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord never becomes attracted by the activities of family life. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 259, Param Drishtva Nivartate. One gives up lower engagements when he experiences a higher reached. Thus, one becomes detached from family life as soon as he comes under the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Okay. Om Agnyante Mirandasya Jananjana Sanakaya Chakshantamena Tasmai Shri Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishaya Bhudane Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Saraswati Gaurama Krishna Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Brahma Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna. Mukam Karoti Vacharam Mangalam Devi Mati. Krishna Chaitanya Shari. So, what we read was elevated Mahatmas who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are fully satiated by the shade of those lotus feet. Their consciousness cannot possibly become attached to family members. Activities of Maharaj Priya Vrata. So, this is 5th canto. Yeah. 5th canto of Bhagavatam. Maharaj Priya Vrata. Parikshit Maharaj hearing from Sukadeva Goswami, as you know. And then you got this particular episode of they're discussing about Priyavrata Maharaj's life. He was instructed by Narada Muni, the science of Srimad Bhagavatam, and then, interestingly, he got involved in family life ruling the world and all the, affairs of material life. Okay. And this episode, this particular section of the sloka, Parikshit Maharaj is a bit puzzled. Okay, he's bewildered. He's asking Shukadeva Goswami, how is it possible? Someone who has tasted the nectar of the sublime subject of Krishna consciousness from a great exalted soul as Narada Muni, how is he start engaging in family life, which is, as per this sloka and the previous sloka, it says that it's a lower engagement. Why it's lower engagement? Because it, family life in general deals with general materialistic activities. So that's why Parikshit Maharaj is a bit puzzled. How can someone, who is pretty much in ecstasy, gives that up and goes into family life, which involves all the daily activities. Imagine if he's a king, you don't even need to ask what kind of things he has to be involved. Fighting, diplomacy, dealing with all types of people, to resolve their issues. Absolutely, they'll need to be swimming in morning to night, dealing with political matters, which is not very spiritual, if you really see. And no wonder we just finished Gita Jayanti, just finished 2 days. Was it yesterday? The day before. Finished. And very interesting. I was reading Bhagavad Gita, and I was reading the sloka translations, and it's very interesting. And as the years pass, the meaning of Bhagavad Gita has changed, right? Because you evolve in life, and then the meaning of the scriptures change also. So I was reading Bhagavad Gita's first chapter, and pretty much in the first chapter, you can see Arjuna, for example, he was obviously Sanjaya starts the conversation. Dhritarashtra asks the question. Sanjaya starts to answer, saying how Duryodhan was addressing, Bhishma Dev and all the personalities over there, and kind of, trying to tell this is how our army is set up. He just gives a view of what's there, and then while the conversation is going, he ends that particular conversation saying, glorifying Bhishma Dev, who is the best amongst the fighter, who is protecting us as the main commander. Then after that, Bhishma Dev blows his conch, and then Krishna on the other side with Arjuna and the Pandavas, and everyone blows the conch, bugle, and you name it. Everything happens. and then comes Arjuna. He is about to fight, takes his bow and arrow, about to fight. And then he says, okay, Krishna, anyway, I have to fight. Let me, take me in the middle of the battlefield. I just want to see who is my opponents. I just want to see everyone. So Krishna said, okay, I'll take you. So he takes Arjuna in the middle of the battlefield, and he sees, obviously, all his relatives there. And as soon as he sees the relatives, we all know what happened. He was very much overtaken by, emotionally overtaken to see all the personalities with whom he has related with is standing there, ready to fight and kill Arjuna. So Arjuna sees everyone, and he was obviously overtaken by emotion that he just cannot even imagine that he has to kill these people, right? And the obvious next set of verses comes where Arjuna basically gives a very systematic presentation based on scriptures on why he should not fight. Okay, and that goes till the end of the chapter. Okay, now, and then he concludes. He doesn't conclude, he kind of gives a statement, but at the end of that, kind of leads to the first part of the second chapter. And then he concludes his presentation to Krishna, saying that I am, he kind of indirectly says that I have no idea why I have to fight. And even if we need to fight, what is the use of fighting? Because having a kingdom without the loved ones is no use. Or even having the, kingdom with them, without them, it's like, having a kingdom with tainted blood, So it is no use of having a kingdom like this. I would rather just give the whole thing to them and go to forest. I don't want any of these things. So he kind of gives an indirect message there. But again, Arjuna, being a devotee of the Lord, he acknowledges and agrees that, what, I'm confused, and then he surrenders to Krishna, saying, please enlighten me. So it kind of, that first episode of first chapter to first part of the second chapter ends like that. So you can see, how a warrior, a fighter, who is a politician, let's say, like Priyavrata Maharaj here, who is a devotee. King Priyavrata is a devotee, Arjuna is a devotee. They need to handle and live with all this kind of predicament situations, which is very challenging, which is very disturbing at times. They don't want to involve in all this. Devotees are very peaceful. They just want to go chant Hare Krishna, live in a forest. That's how they're programmed, basically. They don't want to get involved in all this, dirty things, to be frank. That's what Arjuna says in there, this is too much, I can't handle this. Why do I need to do all these things? And first of all, why do you want me to do this? It doesn't make any common sense. So same like that, even Priyavrata Maharaj was not interested. He heard all the great scriptures from Nardam. He was in ecstasy, so blissed out, and all of a sudden, he ended up getting into family affair and ruling the world, because Brahma comes in and says, my son, you need to do this. It's a duty. So it's very interesting. It's very difficult for us to understand, obviously. It looks very nice philosophically speaking, but it's near impossible for people like us. And what is impossible is because these personalities like Priyavrata Maharaj, Arjun, they, took up, they were in a very elevated position, spiritually speaking, internally, even consciousness-wise. They are very spiritual. They were totally renounced, absolutely not interested in anything on a materialistic affair. But they ended up taking absolutely ghastly, bad, materialistic activities like killing people and, making wealth, grandeur, you name it. It's an absolute opposite of what a devotee would prefer to live a life like. They took up this extreme opposite life purely as a matter of duty. And that duty is not something they mentally concocted or took up. They took up as a duty because their superiors, ordered them. So Lord Brahma ordered Priyavrata Maharaj, Lord Krishna ordered Arjun, right? But the element of them taking the duty as their soul and life, without thinking twice, going through all discomforts is something to be something to be lauded. It's something really near impossible for normal humans like us to do. And this very much parallels with Srila Prabhupada, because we all know Srila Prabhupada, he has told many times. In fact, I think it's a famous conversation. Brahmananda Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada was having this conversation, and where Srila Prabhupada said that he kind of, for a few moments, he revealed some of the secrets to Brahmananda Maharaj, and he was saying that I had no interest to come to this material world. But and Krishna was asking me that I have to go. And I kept saying, please, Krishna, you tell me anything I want, but not this. I don't want to go there. And Brahmananda Maharaj is sitting there and just he was like, oh my God, this is some confidential topics. Prabhupada is just talking to me, And Prabhupada continued, he was saying that, he said, I promise you that, you just go to this material world and I will arrange everything, whatever is needed. And I'll be writing through you the books, and we'll, we need to accomplish this mission through you. So I want you to go. And Prabhupada, he took up that, and then he came. He agreed and came. And that particular little conversation Brahmananda Maharaj shared in one of his exchanges, that how Prabhupada, he at times he shared what was his inner secrets of why he ended up in this planet. And then we all know Prabhupada came, and even this Jaladuta journey, he again revealed the same sentiments there, right? He was traveling through the Jaladuta, and he wrote this famous bhajan. What is her name? I forgot. Vrindavan bhajan?
Markine Bhagavata Dharma.
Yeah, I'm very bad in Sanskrit and Bengali and all the combinations. Anyway, that's the one. So, Prabhupada, you can just see the glimpse of what Prabhupada was thinking in that one. He was saying that, you don't know, I don't know why you brought me here. I don't know what's my job, but you just asked me to come here and you want me to do this. But I've just come here purely having faith in holy name. And then, he ended up saying, make me dance and all that. But the point was how Srila Prabhupada, he took purely as a matter of duty. He just did an extreme opposite of what he likes, which was stay in Vrindavan and do bhajan. That's devotee, right? I'm talking about devotee, not like us, just to let you know. I'm talking about pure devotees there. They just want to stay in Vrindavan and just do bhajan, man. Nothing else they like, right? But Prabhupada, he just did literally the dead opposite. Imagine a person who has not even crossed the ocean, not seen any white guys, who has not seen people doing crazy things. I mean, real crazy things. We all know what, we don't know pretty much. All this hippie people doing, naked people sitting naked, having a relationship, just free range, like free range eggs, free range relationship, just do that on the spot, stuff like that. If you read your well-wisher, it gives Satguru Maharaj has done a impossible task of explaining this in a very pictorially. He has explained. If you just read your well-wisher, I'm sure many of you have read. You just read your well-wisher, right? You can literally see what they are talking. What happened there. And I still remember one of the scenes where Maharaj explains that Prabhupada is sitting and with all cobwebs hanging on the wall, the light is pretty much half broken, and then there's in that room, Prabhupada is giving class in one corner. One guy has just taken LSD and is sleeping unconscious. On the other side, some men and women is having just hugging and doing stuff. And there, is Prabhupada sitting and giving his lecture with full enthusiasm. And then after that, in a day or so, he's writing to his God brothers in India, giving a report of what's happening, that there is a big hope of establishing Krishna consciousness in US because there are some very interested people attending my class. and the interest is people who have taken LSD and sleeping unconscious. You see? So you read that and you literally see what kind of things he was dealing. And Prabhupada said many times in many of his lectures, we all have heard that there are things which I have experienced which I cannot even explain in any place. And we better not discuss about it. So he's gone through extremes, yeah. If you just take the end conclusion. But you can see a pattern, basically. You can see a pattern. Priyavarta Maharaj, you can see a pattern, Arjun, and you can see a similar pattern with Srila Prabhupada, where they pretty much prefer to live a type of life which is purely devotional. And then they voluntarily, no one pushed them. They were not forced by nature. They were not forced by karma or whatever, which we generally go through, right? They voluntarily chose to be put in an extreme situation, which is dead opposite to what they like to do, as a pure matter of duty, and not some duty which me and you have now. Most of us are in this country because we have a duty to pay our bills, or maybe we have a duty to towards our children, or maybe we have duty towards our parents, or you name it. And it's pretty much more duty bound of some sort, right? But Prabhupada or any of these personalities, it was more of a spiritual duty. They were there because they need to do this for their spiritual authorities. And the amount of discomfort they went through is something which can't be explained, because it's not just the physical discomfort, which is one thing which they need to go through, but they also went through the spiritual discomfort, which is which me and you may not understand, because Prabhupada explains that in the journey in Jaladuta, saying that he feels a separation from Vrindavan, and his only food is Chaitanya Charitamrita. If you remember that thing. So that's how deep a pain they have and go through when they're not in connection with their with the holy Dham and the spiritual personalities, like their devotees or associates and all that. So it's very interesting to see how serious, how serious they are in their spiritual life. Personalities like them, how they take up Krishna conscious as their life and soul, that they are so duty bound that all challenges or any difficulties come upon them, it kind of stands insignificant in comparison to what the duty or the project, let's say, which they're trying to execute is of importance. You take Arjun, for example, after that particular first side of the chapter, and then the whole instruction kick starts, where Krishna talks, and then there's a constant back and forth question from Arjun to Krishna. You can see, Krishna has a solid pattern going in this, pretty much the whole Bhagavad Gita. Okay, there's after reading that 700, one message I got, which was very consistently explained in various ways, was Krishna is constantly saying, which is pretty much a secret of why Arjuna was ended up taking and being successful, was Krishna was constantly saying one thing, was, perform your prescribed duty without being attached to the fruits. Okay. and dedicate the fruits to me as a matter of sacrifice, without having any form of attachment in the form like sense gratification, doing it for any form of sense gratification. So this was a consistent pattern of message Krishna was giving in various formats. Okay, where he was saying that just do this as a matter of duty for my pleasure without being attached to the fruit. Okay, and I still remember, and I remember one section where Krishna says that I don't care whether if it's a success or failure, just do it for me. He very clearly explains that. That was very interesting, because generally anything we do, we look for success, right? And we assume that success is what Krishna is looking for from us, or our spiritual authorities like Srila Prabhupada or any of our spiritual masters or whoever is expecting that from us, right? Generally we kind of bind result with our activity, there is one joke, it's kind of a joke or maybe a message-oriented joke, where one God comes to a person and says that, I forgot, but something like this goes similar like this. God comes to one person and says that, I want you to go and push the mountain. Okay, something like that, I forgot, but something similar to this, push the mountain. And this person goes off and starts pushing the mountain. Okay, and then he tries pushing, and obviously pushing mountain is not an easy job. So he keeps pushing. And after a few minutes and hours, he stops the attempt. Okay, and God comes again, he's saying, why did you stop? Well, I'm keep pushing, it's not moving, so I don't see any purpose of doing it, and I don't think so this is what you're looking for, so I'm not pushing anymore. And God says, I just asked you to push. I didn't say you should move the mountain. I just asked you to push, just do that, So the message there was, in our brains, pushing is equal to what's the end conclusion? I have to move the mountain, But Krishna is saying, just do the job, right? Just do the job. End result is none of your business. It's my problem. It happens or not happens is for me to decide. So Krishna, then that's when he shows the universal form. And then Arjuna sees the whole thing. He sees all the warriors are going inside. And Krishna says this one beautiful thing. He says, everyone is dead. You can see people are going in and out except you, Arjuna, and all the Pandavas, except you, everyone is gone. It's very interesting, You say, Krishna has literally finished everyone except the Pandavas, when he shows the universal form. It shows, and Krishna says, and I'm saying, I'm doing all this just because you are very dear to me. So it's very interesting, the power of being a devotee, I was just talking to Yamuna before. There is this in 7th canto, Prabhupada's lecture, he's saying how Prahlad Maharaj, he's explaining the beauty of the devotion of Prahlad Maharaj, so demigod. So Nrsimhadev comes, he does all the fighting business, and then he's super angry, sitting now with Hiranyakasipu dead on his lap. Now Nrsimhadev is sitting, and obviously all the demigods are like very scared. They want to pacify the Lord. So all the demigods are standing 10 miles away, thinking how to make this sorted, and then Lakshmi Devi is there. And Lakshmi Devi is also kind of confused. Who is this guy? He doesn't even look like my husband. So Prabhupada is saying, the demigods go and request Lakshmi Devi, Lakshmi, please go and sort out your husband. He's pretty angry. And Lakshmi is saying, I don't know who is this guy. My husband doesn't look like this. Yeah. This is not my husband. And Prabhupada says there is actually a particular word in the Sanskrit shloka is mentioned in the Bhagavatam that Lakshmi Devi doesn't want to go nearby because she's the most chaste, as we all know. being a chaste lady, and she just couldn't even acknowledge this as her husband. She doesn't even want to go near any other man other than her husband. So in the Sanskrit shloka, they literally say Lakshmi, being a chaste lady, hence doesn't want to go to someone whom she doesn't believe is her husband. So Lord Brahma gives up. He's saying, okay, it's no use. Lakshmi is not going to do this. Obviously, we are not going to go anywhere near Narsingha. They're pretty much scared to death. So Prahlad is standing there, 5 years old boy, right? Job done and dusted, watching there with a garland in his hand. So Lord Brahma goes, my son, it's because of you. He is here and he's very angry. Maybe you are the one who should, it's your duty, go and pacify Lord Narsinghadev. And Prahlad Maharaj here was saying, yeah, I have no problem, I'll go, And Prabhupada explains, he's saying in his class, he's saying that, how Prahlad Maharaj, he was so fearless and he was so happy actually to go and see Narsinghadev. Even though he was fearful, gasping, and he was so much in anger, all the demigods were scared to death, don't even want to go 1 inch near. But here was Prahlad Maharaj, who was like, I am just waiting to go nearby to see Narsinghadev, because he is my Lord at the end of the day. He is the person who is going to protected me, and it's for him I did everything, and he is my most dear worshipful object. It doesn't matter how he looks. So he goes near Narsinghadev, sits at his lotus feet, and sits and offers amazing prayers and all that. So Prabhupada explains, how Prahlad Maharaj was so fearless, and he was having such a pure devotion. He was untouched by all the externals, what he saw. He was purely attracted by the loving affection of Lord. None of this scary stuff bothered him. And on the other side, demigods are also devotees. They didn't want to even go near because they were so scared. You see? So Prabhupada was saying this is the purity of Prahlad Maharaj's devotion. And no wonder, he explains, Prabhupada explains in the following element of his class, saying that Krishna, when you offer great prayers to Krishna, all the Brahmanas and all these big personalities, you offer prayers, he's like, yeah, okay, whatever, He hears the whole thing as a matter of duty and offers blessings, yeah, blah, tatastu X, Y, Z, move on. He just goes off. He's not as moved when he sees his dear gopis and gopas who are ready to sit on top of him and play games, right? So Prabhupada is explaining how the purity of devotion differs here. If you see all the Brahmanas and all these personalities with awe and reverence offering prayers, in general, the prayer is offered in expectation of a fruit. You offer all this glorification and beautiful prayers. You do a sacrifice. Why? So that you get a fruit. You're asking for some benediction. And that benediction is for my benefit or my extended family or the country or whatever, It's basically some benediction for a well-being of someone, right? But it's mainly for a benediction. We offer all this awe and reverence and glorification and service and sacrifice. So Krishna, on one hand, he hears all that and he just offers the benedictions and move on. It's basically just for some benediction, this whole exchange is happening, which is fine. But if you see for the gopas and gopis, the whole range of conversations and the prayers and the glorification and the chastisement and everything is happening purely for the benefit of Krishna. Krishna, you're not having your milk on time. You're not, having your, shoes and going for the, to graze the cows or, all those. If you see the whole thing, or even lusty, so-called lusty, dance which they have at night, all these things are happening, nothing for the pleasure of gopis and gopas. It's mainly done just to please Krishna. So that's why, you know, these exchanges which Gopas and Gopis are doing with Krishna is very dear, and Krishna is waiting to have all those exchanges with devotees. The reason being, they are purely doing it just to please Krishna. But on the other hand, these great prayers and offerings which they receive from Brahmanas and all the other personalities, mainly for their own benefit. They want some benediction, so they are praying and they're giving. So that's why the purity of devotion differs, you know. That's why when you see Prahlad Maharaj was there, he offered a prayer and gave the garland. Narsingadev immediately pacified. All the job was done because his devotion was pure. He said, I am here and doing every single thing just for the pleasure of the Lord. He is my Lord. You know, the demigods were not ready to go even near, you see. So the element of devotion matters, you know. So that's why, you know, these great personalities, when people like Srila Prabhupada, Arjun, you know, he was saying that, you know, in the universal form was shown, and Krishna was saying that everyone is gone and dusted except you, you know, all of you, because you are very dear to me. Because that Arjuna and the Pandavas have literally purchased Krishna by that devotion, just like the Gopas and Gopis have purchased Krishna by their pure devotion. Prahlad Maharaj, these personalities. So, you know, it's very interesting to see, you know, and hence the reason you see Arjuna, it's such an amazing offering he has done. He is, you know, he had this challenging situation. He acknowledges that, you know what, I am bewildered. I need your direction. He hears the whole Bhagavad Gita and he immediately acts on it. At the end of the 18th chapter, he acts on it. Krishna is saying, okay, I have explained all this to you. You know, is there anything else you want to clarify? Are you ready for it? Or is there anything else you want me to clarify? And Arjuna clearly says, I'm ready. And I'm ready to go and fight on this battle now. You know, and then we know he goes and just literally slaughters the whole thing. Again, imagine for a devotee who was so soft-hearted and who was crying and trembling in first sloka, first chapter. A person was trembling out of all emotional overwhelm. At the end of the 18th chapter, he just went and massacred the whole army. You just imagine a transformation of consciousness and a determination on how they want to do this. Just because this is what you want, I will do it. You know. So you can see the similar attitude in Srila Prabhupada. And if it needs done, just do it. You know, and especially for their spiritual master and Krishna. So it's a very powerful thing how important it is. You know, most in our life, generally, in all our lives, anything and everything we do is more self-centered. You know, our sadhana, our japa, our services, our preaching, you name it, anything and everything we do is more self-centered. We do it because we get some gain out of it. It's basically of that type. You know, we want to do because it makes us feel good. We do because we need a blessing. We need some form of benediction, at least, right? Chances of giving benediction and blessings for others, why are we doing? It's very less. You know, I mean, like, to what extent am I doing preaching so that, oh, this is purely for the benefit of the people, or maybe it's mainly because this is what my guru wants. I'm just purely doing for that. You know, I don't want anything, basically. I don't want any blessings. I don't want anything in return. And I'm ready to go all forms of discomfort to do this. It's very rare, you know, it's very difficult. And even if we do have, it's maybe for a few minutes, maybe it's not of a consistent mindset, you know, of us doing that service like that. But if you see, you know, it's not easy either for me to talk about it. But my point is, it's important to acknowledge the difference. You know, The achieving it is a totally different subject matter, and it's not for an overnight conversation here. It's a journey. Maybe in this lifetime, if we get that, it will be amazing. That means your life is a success if you get it by the end of this life. So we are not talking about achieving this. We are talking about understanding and acknowledging the difference here, how important it is, because at times we do service and we think we are doing most of us are at an assumption. If not an assumption, most of us are in ignorance. Maybe we don't even know what type of quality of service we perform. And due to which we at times end up talking things in comparison with other devotees, or even don't get inspiration to look up for another higher form of devotees who are doing in a higher caliber. How do we learn from them? We don't think all this because in our brains, we are thinking, I'm anyway doing this. I'm anyway preaching. I'm anyway doing books. I'm anyway doing my sadhana, right? So what is there to look up for, right? At times you talk with some devotees, they say that I do this, Prabhu. I do this, I do X, Y, Z. I've heard about this subject matter. I have read about this. What happens is we just take the gross implementation or gross listening of what we have done and assume that's good enough. But we don't understand the intricate understanding, the quality of the understanding, the quality of our application of service. We don't get to that level. Then naturally what happens is we miss many things, If we don't acknowledge the gap between what's the highest quality and where I stand, if I don't understand the gap, the chances of us endeavoring to fill the gap is going to be very less. You will see some Maharajas are walking in front of us, some nice devotees who have higher caliber walking in front of us. We may miss the opportunity of learning what they have and try to imbibe, and may miss all those golden opportunities. We may end up asking blessings. Prabhu, please bless me that, I can get this in my life and that in my life. It's like Prabhupada says, you go and see a president and ask 10 rupees ticket, 10 rupees for going back home, and Prabhupada says, when you see a president, you better ask something very big, not ask for 10 rupees so that you can go back home, right? So when you see devotees like of a higher caliber, we need to understand where we stand so we can ask the right questions so that we can evolve and improve in my spiritual life. But for that, first we need to understand and acknowledge what is the difference between us and and services of a higher caliber. That's why this conversation is important, and we need to constantly introspect where we stand. If we don't introspect and understand where we stand, then naturally we're going to miss all these opportunities when we come across devotees in front of us, So that's why it's important to understand, like when we do service, most of the time, where do we stand? Is it more of accomplishing a goal related service? Okay, I want to do this service. In the WhatsApp message I see, right? Put a tick mark. Done, 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 done. Okay, remaining not done. Chase the other 10 guys with 10 WhatsApp message. Done, 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 done. You get the point? It's more of WhatsApp message, broadcast, get the checklist done and dusted, which is great. No problem. But is that what we're looking for? All alone? Am I a project management company where I just do a bunch of projects successfully, raise 1,000 pounds, done and dusted, distribute 10,000 books, done and dusted? Is that what I'm looking for? Am I running a company which just does all these things? It's great. What we do is great, but how we do is the next subject, right? Why we do? I believe most of us know why we do in our readings of why we are trying to do certain things, which is for the pleasure of the superiors and benefit of the wider community, right? But what we do, we know. I want to distribute 10,000 books. I want to raise 10,000 pounds or whatever. But how we do, It's a big question mark, because we don't pretty much work on that element, How we do, we maybe do a management organization planning session, which is great, but internally, am I planning how to do it in my consciousness level? What are the things to be done? What are the do's and what are the don'ts? I've seen many times devotees deal each other in a rash way, which even I end up doing, just to let you know. I also deal devotees rashly, don't worry. But I'm just saying, again, acknowledging it, understanding, okay, when you deal sometimes rashly certain things, at the end of that conversation, you need to understand, okay, you know what, I think this is not the way I should be doing next time. Let's improve. That level of assessing and improving, that cycle has to be there. So my point is that when I don't understand the hows, when I do a service, rather just do a project management exercise, right? It's okay, it's not a problem. But when I read that sloka of Krishna saying that I don't bother if it's a success or failure. All I want is for you to renounce the fruit and give it to me. If I see that, I'm thinking, oh my God, I've never done that in my life before. Most of the time, at least. For me, one of the main, blow in the head, which I still remember, is I was reading, once I was hearing Prabhupada's lecture, and I heard this one statement, and that really made a spanner in my head. Was Prabhupada said, you do any big projects in the planet you want, you may distribute thousands of books, you may achieve big projects, build big temples, but at the end of this whole project, if you have not developed love for Krishna, that is a failure. Okay. So Prabhupada kind of, I was thinking then, this is like 5, 6 years ago. Okay. Nowadays, I'm not even passionate in anything. But 5, 6 years ago, I was like a maniac passion when it comes to doing many things, right? And I was like, it really made me think, because not even 1 second I've thought about love of Krishna. I remember we have done Gita Jayanti, distributed thousands of books. I mean, things were flying colors, We did some crazy stuff like that. Nowadays, it's all kind of, systemized and all that. That time we were like innovating, learning, finding new ways of doing stuff. Like Yamuneshwari does pledging of Bhagavad Gita and all that. So it was like all new way of doing things. No one was doing those things before. So we were like researching, doing, experimenting, and every single time when we experimented, magics happened. So it was very interesting times. So when we're doing that, nowadays it's more of expected, systemized. We know you do this, you do that, you get that. Because it's more of it's kind of systemized now. So it's nothing surprise, let's say. But then you do all that, and I was thinking like, wow, I think we have done a great service. I think we have achieved many things. I was in the moon thinking like, I'm like someone too special in the planet, you see. And then you hear this lecture, I was like, because I've never thought in my life that particular subject matter of love for Krishna concept. When I say love for Krishna, Prabhupada explained, you being conscious of Krishna during the whole journey of executing the project, and you start the project with one planet, with one level of being conscious of Krishna, and at the end of the project, you should be more conscious of Krishna. In other words, you need to be more affectionate, develop some loving affections for Krishna. I was thinking like, I have in the first place not even thought about Krishna in the beginning of the project. Forget about at the end of the project, increasing my love for Krishna. In the whole 1 month of my service, not once I thought about, is this pleasing to Krishna? Is this something what, I have not even thought about anything about Krishna there. All I thought about is how to hit the target and what are the different techniques I can use. So that really made me think that, oh my God, I am millions of light years away from what I should be doing. So then, obviously, even today, I'm not come near to that, but I'm just saying that made me think. And I'm constantly, whenever I do, if not the whole project, at least for 5 seconds before the start of the project, I think, can I incorporate this somewhere in my whole project? So I can think about Krishna somewhere. But imagine if that thought process doesn't happen, my whole life I may do big temple projects. I may even build temple of Vedic Mantorium, but I have not even thought about Krishna consciousness related things. It's more of just execute and throw the project off, which is like, it's okay, and it's not a problem. But remember, just when you read books, you understand. Krishna is so clearly explaining. He's saying, I don't want any of the material offerings which you're giving to me. He's clearly saying, all I want is that devotion which is inside. Because, and then it makes so sense, because Krishna is God at the end of the day. Why does he need my material offering? As if he is hankering for that. It doesn't make any common sense, right? Because he doesn't need my material offering anyway. It's not like, when I went to India this time, was with my dad and mother and all that. And my father generally, right? You all know the history and geography. My father is a pretty strong personality. So he has never ever even bothered asking once also, when you going to come be with us and this and that. He's like, go to hell, who cares? He's never bothered about that. All these years of his life, I've never seen him. And I actually like that, because it made my life easy. I wasn't bothered to make a phone call to him, because he doesn't want my phone call anyway. So made my life easy. But this visit, he really made my life too difficult, because he was literally asking many times, you going to be with us? When are you coming back? Are you going to be calling us after that? I don't get to see your calls much. I was like, what happened to you? You have never done these things in your life before. And why are you asking for loving exchanges all of a sudden? And you're making my life difficult now, because, I've never done this to you. And so it just made me think, oh my God, this is a total U-turn in my life now. How do I handle this? You see, a father or a mother have a child just so they can have this loving reciprocation, right? They're expecting, they want this. If not, what is the use of a child, basically? Okay? But, well, that's a human relationship. But if you see Krishna, for example, he's a God. He doesn't need any of these material things with us, right? He doesn't want any of your material offerings. All he's looking for is the devotion which goes in there. He's not like this so-called father, mother who wants you. Without you, what can I do? My son, what will I do? I'm getting old, I need you, right? But in Krishna's case, there's nothing like that. He doesn't need anyone. He's saying, man, I'm self-sufficient. You come, not come, chant Hare Krishna, it's not your problem. But if you give me with love and devotion, I am there, right? If you're not giving, and that's what it is, right? You don't want me, so I don't want to bother you. So that's why all these big projects and offering is great if it's done as a fruit of devotion. See, this is where we got confused a little bit. Prabhupada, all these great personalities did big things. You know why? Because they loved Krishna. As a fruit of that, they did something big. You see, they didn't do big because they want to do big. They did big because they loved Krishna and they did it big. They want to do something big, right? Now, in our case, we are doing big because we just, because we want to do big. We want to execute a project. And if we don't do a project, we feel bad about ourselves. We judge ourselves. We feel inferior about ourselves. There's a lot of false ego, which gets crushed, right? It's more of a self-belief system attack happens when I don't do things which is being given to me, right? There's no Krishna concept here. So what happens is we feel depressed, like let's say you do something and then one devotee, Mataji, whoever gave you the service comes and tells, Mataji, Prabhuji, this is not what I expected from you. You should not have done things like this. Why did you do like this? It's not a great project. It's not nicely have done and this and that. Imagine, what do you think? Do you say, thanks for your feedback? I am so excited and delighted to hear this from you. And I'm going to do next time very nicely for the pleasure of yourself and the devotees and the Lord. Like generally from the heart, chances are very less to think like that. The first few seconds, my brain will go blank. He's saying, man, I've spent all that hours and days and weeks just to make this, and this is all I get, criticism. It really hurts me because I have not even acknowledged the mere fact of what I have done. All you have done is criticism, right? So what happens is, I'm not saying we should all not do that. I'm just giving an understanding here. The reason we immediately get split-second hurt, we kind of go a little blank and kind of question some of the things. Maybe we may reconcile and get our head together and move on, but the immediate system shock happens. Why? Because pretty much the whole service we have done, it's more of a self thing, we do it because just for our own, to make us feel good. Mostly it's centered around that. So that's why when a devotee, even a senior devotee comes and gives us a shocking criticism, we generally get a shock immediately. We get some form of shock before we gather ourselves and understand. You say, okay, no, actually he's saying it for my good only. He's a nice devotee. Yesterday I was talking to one devotee, and this devotee was saying, he said, Prabhu, many times you criticize, but I know you're saying for my good only. And I was thinking, how do you know that I'm saying for your good? Sometimes I may not be saying that, So I thought, so in my head, I was thinking, he's just trying to justify himself why I criticize you. He just wants to make himself feel good. He's saying, no, I know you're criticizing for my good only, not just because you want to criticize me. So it's just to pacify his ego. He was saying that, I will accept your criticism because it's for my good. I will not take it personal. Don't worry. So this is how it is. Our brains are so wired to ourself, to our ego, that any services we do, it's more of me, mine, and myself. It's all in this world. So we want to do a project, a service perfect. We want to finish it all correct. We don't want to do any mistake. We want to do all these things. Why? So that I myself feel good about it, that I've done something, and it's all good. The person who gave is happy. I am happy. Oh, yeah, Krishna is happy too. But it's mainly me centered around. So I get all this nice positive feedback, and everyone is happy, and I feel very confident that everything is going good. How many times I've heard, that includes me also, that, where you give something to someone, they go and do, they screw up in the first attempt. Okay, something they screw up. They know for a fact it's screwed up. And then you go second time, you say, and you tell Mataji, Prabhuji, do you want to do second time? You say, no. I messed it up. I am not confident now. I don't want to do it again. Could be cooking, could be giving class, could be kirtan, right? They got messed up somewhere in the middle and they got embarrassed like anything. Yeah. And then you go second time and offer the same service because you want to encourage devotees to do, right? So you say, Mataji, no, come on, please do, Prabhu. What's the problem? You can cook. Don't worry. I'm there. I'll be there. You just do. Say, no, Prabhu, Mataji, no. I first messed up first time so badly. I don't want to do again. Please don't call me. I'm so stressed out. So these are all symptoms of what? Symptoms of the whole thing is being done in me in the center. The whole world is around me. So that's why I'm just giving a synopsis of what internal conversations and shocks we go through. And I'm sure you can maybe relate with at some times of your life of why we end up in that scenario is because it's more of self-conscious service most of the time. This is just to justify why am I doing self-conscious service or not? If I am self-conscious, and that means these types of thought process do come in our life. Because when I'm self-conscious, this is what happens. But the point is, is this what Krishna wants from me? Because if I'm going to be doing this kind of self-conscious service, obviously it's better than no service, just to let you know, right? You don't need to think, Prabhu, I'm self-conscious. You know what? I better do nothing, No, it's not like that. Obviously, some service is better than no service. Just keep, underline that point. But I'm just saying for someone who is doing some service, we are talking of how to move forward, right? So I'm just giving a point on that. So if I am in the self-conscious platform, then naturally, Krishna is looking for something more as per what we have read in the scriptures. He doesn't want what product you're giving. The product is okay, but it should be the fruit of your devotion. You should have given the biggest project in the planet because you love Krishna, not because that makes me feel good, not because that's what was given to me, not because this is what pleases him, so that it pleases me after that. Because if it pleases someone, they're going to give a good comment about me and I feel good about it. These are all okay, but no, it has to be just because that's what pleases Krishna. That's what pleases my guru, And hence I'm going to do something big. Because it bewilders me many times, Prabhupada's disciples, till today, I have no idea how that happens. But Prabhupada disciples, many times they used to say, you read many books and many histories and geography you hear, they'll say that, they would have done 24 hours of book distribution, 48 hours of book distribution, crazy amount of services, okay? And then they say what, all I want to see is a smile in Srila Prabhupada when I go and see him. And till today, I have no clue. Okay. I think you have done all for that just to see a smile. Is that all? Is that all? Nothing else? And they genuinely say that, and I am like, this is a bit far out actually, All you want to see a smile in Srila Prabhupada's face, and you have done a donkey level of hard work just to see that smile. Well, I could have even made him smile with a Rasagula if need be. Why it needs to be that? So, they understand the mood of Prabhupada, right? Yeah, Rasagula also, he smiles, but Prabhupada wants preaching. So, but my point is, that is devotion. They went through extremes of service, Prabhupada's disciples, just so they can put a smile in Prabhupada's face. And Prabhupada is smiling because he's happy. So they want to make Prabhupada happy, and that's why they went through extremes of doing stuff. Now that is offering of love, and that is very pleasing, beyond doubt. Now, this is what we want to imbibe. This is what we want to strive for. And this is what, if you see someone has, you just need to go and ask and learn from them. Because it's good what we are doing now. Whatever services we are doing is great, which is far better than not doing or maybe being slackened and all stuff, right? Devotees, you guys are all doing so much service, like distributing thousands of books, X, Y, Z. But it's time now for us to step up, level 1 to level 2 kind of thing. It's like, yeah, I'm doing whatever I need to do. I'm doing with very nicely. I'm hitting the targets, going above and beyond, in terms of hitting numbers and stuff. Great, but how am I doing this? Seriously, how can I make it better? How can I get that sublime experience, which Prabhupada, Krishna explains in the books? Is there a way I can tap into that, right? Is there a way I can do this in a platform of just pleasing Krishna? Is there a way I can do this as an offering of love? Just sacrifice. I want to give the fruits, not with no sense of attachment. Is there a way I can do without keeping me in the center? Can I be not conscious of myself? but just be conscious of Krishna. All these things are pretty high. It's very difficult. I'm serious, right? This you do. If we can achieve by end of this life, you're going back to Godhead for sure. There's nothing to discuss. It's not me saying. That's what Krishna says in books. Because it's a lifetime project, basically. But my point, like I said at the middle of the class, was we need to acknowledge this. We need to understand this is to be done. And we need to work throughout our life on how this can be achieved, because it is a more of a conscious effort repeatedly, which needs happening till the end of life, because this is something cannot be perfected overnight, or maybe attend a workshop. Sometimes devotees say, Prabhu, can you do a workshop on this? I say, sorry, man, this is not a workshop project. This is going to take more than a workshop. So it's not as simple as that. So that's why it's very important. We need to be conscious of this, So this marathon, you all are doing various big things. Frankly, I don't do anything, you all know, anyway, this is not me humble, but I don't do books and all that nowadays. I'm just sitting and slacking around. But my point is, this is very important on what I just spoke, the last hour, where if you all can keep an eye on this and see how you can move forward, here, acknowledge and try to associate with those devotees who have those symptoms, right? Who have those symptoms of higher taste, right? Here you can see Priyavata Maharaj took up family life as a matter of duty. Parikshit Maharaj was confused. How this guy can do this lower stage activity, which is running a family life. We all are family grahasthas here. But Priyavata Maharaj, was doing that lowest activity as per Parikshit Maharaj. But you will read in the following slokas after that. Priyavata Maharaj did it in this pure, pristine consciousness, this lowest activity of as a matter of duty, as an offering of love. And it goes on saying that, how he achieved perfection in his life, being like that. Same like Arjuna, he achieved perfection by killing people. Same Prabhupada, he was sitting in the most dirtiest place in the planet, which is Bowery Street, and he not achieved perfection. He made many people to achieve perfection sitting there. So it's not about what we do, basically. Okay. It's a matter of how we do it, with what type of consciousness. And having said that, some of us may think, okay, it's not about what we do, so I can just chill out, do nothing, and just focus on how we do it. No, actually, the fruit of your love is the fruit of love, or the fruit of how you do good is what you're doing will be of a higher caliber, So that's the thing. Just like this, if someone is healthy, he will eat nicely. If someone is not healthy, he can't eat nicely. So similarly, if someone feels an ecstasy of love, he is going to be doing a lot of service, big projects. Someone who doesn't experience ecstasy of love, chances are he may not do anything. You'll just walk around and do stuff. So that's why. So it's kind of a false thing to think that I won't do something, I'll sit and just meditate. It's not like that. That means actually you are not Krishna conscious. So keep an eye on that. I would say for this marathon, just contemplate a bit. I just thought this because when I was earlier, we were all very actively, I was doing stuff. Then I was able to really relate, because like I was saying, I did this whole service, and then I heard Prabhupada. I was thinking like, man, I just totally lost the plot here. It's like Operation Success Patient Dead story, basically. I achieved numbers, but I just totally missed the plot. I was shooting arrow in some place, not the actual goal. So it's important that you all are doing service next to this 1 month. Keep this in mind and see if you can see a difference, basically, how you can bring upon this offering of love. And obviously, how you can do, these sentiments and this thought process comes by us doing nice chanting, doing our It's all the usual basic stuff, basically, you know, our chanting, reading, hearing, all these things should be done. But it's just why we do it, you know, it changes a bit there, you know. We don't just do all these things because it's been told to us. We don't do all these things because this is what I should do to get some benediction and blessings. You know, it's not about me. Basically, I'm doing all this because this is what pleases the Lord. It's an act of sacrifice. You see, this is what is sacrifice. Basically, when you do this as an act of sacrifice, which means you're doing this just for pleasing Krishna, pleasing Prabhupada, your sadhana, which is chanting, reading, hearing, then naturally that's taken as a sacrifice to the Lord, and that blessings which you get is profound. The transformation and realizations you get will be profound. You see, because that will prevail across whatever else you do after that. Yeah. So yeah, try to hit all the targets. Yeah. But don't forget that, you know, don't after that end of the month say, Prabhu, we were focusing to you know, develop love for Krishna there, so we just forgot to hit the 10,000 number. You know, hey, Hare Krishna, stop all the conversations there. Okay, I don't want you know, Prabhuji, we hit only 2,000 books or something. We need to do the 10,000 book quota there. Okay, 10,000 Bhagavad Gitas, 5,000 small books, all that beautiful numbers we need to hit. Okay. There is nothing to compromise or discuss on that subject. But just try your best to see if you can make it. You know, it's all individual, right? We have many individuals are in this service. So each of us need to individually develop that consciousness, which is, you know, doing it as a matter of offering of love. That's the main thing. So as an act of sacrifice. So it's important, try to bring that on board, but still, you know, try to do what you can on the service platform there. But yeah, so that's what I would say for this marathon, which is very important. All the other bits and bobs is very obvious, you know, I don't have to go through those things, you know, there are so many resources available. I'm seeing so many WhatsApp messages with lots of you know, stories on, you know, marathons, which is coming up. Devotees are sharing so many amazing things. So many children actually, in Manor Temple, so many children are going for books and they're doing some amazing things, which is you know, brilliant. And it's really amazing to see all the kids are going and knocking doors and distributing books. And they're very nice and excited about it, which is nice. So, you know, so all these things should be obviously inspiring, you know, you can see all those videos. So I just added bit which you may not get in a video. So that's it for the day, ladies and gents. And I think we are done, unless, I don't know if Jagannath Darshan is Yamuneshwari there to show in her thingy. Oh, she's not doing it. Maybe. Is it a thing you guys see, Darshan, or what?
Yes, probably Jagannath not slept it.
Okay. I will try to open in my mobile and go if that helps. I'll join in the other thingy here, and I will show Darshan there.
Oh, your head is shining.
Thank you, Prabhu. So Vivek Prabhu, do you have any announcements to make?
Yes, Prabhuji. So regarding Gita sponsorship, so we had a wonderful evening on 3rd of December. But still we need to encourage more and more devotees across Gita Gyan plus non-Gita Gyan regular devotee and our contacts. So slowly we are finishing our week 1, first 7 day of the marathon. So we should grab the opportunity wherever we are meeting our contacts, friends, and try to encourage more and more Bhagavad Gita sponsorship. And second thing is regarding our Gita Yagna. So Gita Yagna is finalized on 17th of December at BHP Hall from 1 p.m. onwards. So we will send the message in all the service group, and well, we have a lot of services coming for the Gita Yagna, Havan and all this thing. So I will request all the service team and other volunteers to help here. So this will be the one of the biggest event again, physical event after Rath Yatra. So please help here. And regarding, I will also thanks to all the devotee who took the temple service in this December month. So we are getting positive feedback from all the temple brahmachari and the head pujaris that East London devotees are doing very well and they are learning day by day. So please keep it up and pray that we serve Lord Shiv very good way. We are trying our best to do that. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah. So we'll wait for Arvind Krishna Prabhu to show the darshan.
There you go.
Jai Jagannath. Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladev, Jai Subhadra. Jai Darshan Chakra ki Jai. Gopal ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Madhav. मातर पंचतत्व की जय.
Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Haribo. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. All okay?
Yes, Prabhu, thank you so much for the darshan, Prabhu.
Jai Jagannath. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining the session today. And yeah, let's follow what Arvind Krishna Prabhu has explained and have a blissful Prabhupada marathon.
Jai Haribo. See you all
Hare
very
Krishna.
much.
Hare
Srila Prabhupada, Jagannath Swami ki. Jai
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna, Hare Bol.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.